McLaurin wants reportedly $33+ million, more considerably more, according to Schefter, than DK Metcalf. And while it's understandable he wants 33, 34, really even $35 million, what it comes down to is the guaranteed money. I don't think this is about $33 million. I think this is about Garrett Wilson's $90 million guaranteed. I think this is about $70 million guaranteed. Whatever number McLaurin and his camp are settling on, it's guaranteed money. He doesn't care about, I mean, he does. Everybody wants to be in the top 7, in the top 5 per year annually, but he's a smart guy. He's at the end of his, I don't know, twilight year. He's literally got this 1 or 2 more years left before he starts going downhill. He knows that, and it's unfortunate for him that he's been waiting for this contract forever. You know, he's been waiting for this moment to get JD5 forever. His whole career's practically gone by waiting for a quarterback. And now that he finally has one, he's having a tough time understanding that a majority of his career is gone. And every player thinks they're younger and better, stronger, more capable of lasting till 35 years of age at an elite level. But the truth is, Adam Peters is very smart. And when I tell you Adam Peters knows what he's doing, my sense is, and I've said this for weeks and really months now, we got a fly in here. We know that it's more likely, I don't want to say the fault of Terry McLaurin here, but there's some complexities on the agent and Terry McLaurin's side that I think aren't conveyed to everybody. Everybody just sees a team being greedy, not paying the player. But I have a feeling that he's very unrealistic because of the situation that he's been dealt, unfortunately. Adam Peters knows what he's doing. They drafted this Jalen Lane kid, by the way, who's been destroying camp. Deebo's in the fold now. There's plenty of weapons. They may push this thing a little further. And the thing is, Terry McLaurin can't afford to actually play this thing out. He can call the team's bluff for a little while, but then Terry McLaurin needs to play games. Terry McLaurin does himself no good by sitting out 3 weeks of football. No one's running to Terry McLaurin after the season and says, oh, we'll take you, or mid-season, we'll make a trade. This is every game, every day, every week he holds in with the ankle. He's not holding out, he's holding in. That's the new way to do it. You're running the risk of injury. I'm not saying the injury risk is enormous right now, but every week that goes by, every day that goes by, a little fraction of a percent of injury risk gets added on top of an older player who's going to be more likely in general to get injured anyway. Will there be a forced trade by Terry McLaurin? I've told you what is required. We'll talk about that on the flip side of the intro. There's a possibility, but a few things need to be in the mix here. One component of the two might be about at that point. The other component we'll talk about, the Fantasy Football Show, begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So for a trade to happen in regards to a player that should not be traded, meaning the team is sitting there going, we have really no reason to trade this player. We love the player. They're a great player. Our team is better with the player. And even the draft capital exchange and, let's say, a second rounder, which would be crazy for an older player like Terry McLaurin, it wouldn't help the Commanders win. So the Commanders have zero beginning interest in trading Terry McLaurin. Zero. There's no benefit to it. It's a zero interest proposition for him. But two components need to be involved for a trade like this to go down, a trade that shouldn't go down. One would be that there is a divide between the team and the player. And it's got to be a divide that is so bad that both parties are interested in hearing what a team might have to offer. And we are getting to that point. I'm not saying we're there yet, quite yet with Terry McLaurin. I'm not saying we're there quite yet on both sides of this thing, but we are literally getting to that tipping point. The second component is an offer that the team cannot refuse. They have to take this offer because it's one of those unbelievable Godfather offers. And maybe this is not going to happen. So even if this part is in play, the Commanders to get pushed over the edge and say, we don't care if Terry McLaurin didn't play 1 or 2 weeks if it means we don't get something that helps us win. At the end of the day, you would rather win. You would rather have Scary Terry with a higher risk of injury than a second-round pick. How's a second-round pick going to help you? How's a second-round pick going to help this team, the Commanders, who are set to potentially be a division winner? Yes, they could do that. To be a team that could march on through the playoffs and be a Super Bowl contending team, a team that shows in the Super Bowl. Of course, they don't want to trade Scary Terry. A second rounder gets them no closer to that. Maybe it helps them build for the future, but there's no benefit to trading away Scary Terry. So, again, back to the drawing board. Do you have this rift? Maybe. Do you have the offer you can't refuse? It better be something amazing. Can you bring in Keenan Allen? Can you bring in Amari Cooper? Could you bring in both of them? And then take that second rounder and say, look, this is going to get so bad that we don't know how functional Terry McLaurin will be if he's holding in, doesn't practice, and now he's an older player with a higher likelihood of injury. So there was certainly an increased amount of risk across the board for both sides, for McLaurin and for the Washington Commanders, to not accept a second-round pick if they can bring in Keenan Allen and have a pretty solid replacement. And let's be honest, Keenan Allen might be pretty good still. I'm not saying he's elite. I'm not saying he's his old self. But Keenan Allen, to me, is a very questionable player to be sitting out there on the waiver wire right now. If an offer comes in that's too good to refuse, then we might have some trade talks going on. This is about at that point. Now, again, as I mentioned, Terry McLaurin wanting, according to Schefter on the Pat McAfee show, and this is according to Schefter. Schefter's been wrong before. Aaron Rodgers has made that remarkably clear. This $33 million deal that DK Metcalf has, this is what Schefter's saying that McLaurin wants considerably more, which would indicate to me 35 plus, or at least 35. I don't think 34 feels significant. 35 almost doesn't feel significant, but it is millions of dollars. So 35 plus is what I would say that Schefter's insinuating that Terry McLaurin wants. And it's understandable from a year-to-year perspective, as I said. This is one of those things where, it's per year he deserves 35. Per year he deserves $35 million per year. It's guaranteed money. If I'm offering a 30-year-old wide receiver money and I say something like, hey, we'll give you $35 million, okay, but we're not guaranteeing 3 years of your $35 million contract. I can pay you $50 million per year and guarantee you 1 year on the 2-year deal, and I'm fine with that as well. It comes down to moving money around. That's not the way the NFL really works, but that's what you could essentially do. But it is something to where you are looking at a probably $34 million, $35 million per year type of situation. And then, from there, it's like, is it a year and a half you're guaranteeing? What I imagine happening is it's something around the $34 to $35 million per year annually amount of money for Terry McLaurin on a $50 to $70 million scale of guaranteed money. And that's where the problem lies, is does he want 70? Is he getting offered 50? It's those kinds of things. Mark dropping the super chat. Appreciate you, Mark. It's our year. Go Cowboys. And Mark also says, who is our running back? Who is our running back? Who are you referring to? For the Cowboys, Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue to the moon, Mark. Mark, thank you for the super chat. Mark to the moon.
Mashed potatoes!
I don't know what the translation is on that. Appreciate the super chat. If somebody wants to tell me what that means. I want to give him a proper, shout out for if that is a $20 hauler or something. Mark, I appreciate you very much for that super chat. Jaden Blue, baby. Now, Javonte might start the year. Jaden Blue's kind of, climbing up the ranks, but I think it is Blue. Blue's impressive. Blue is a midseason monster for a reason. I'll show you that. He's also, as you can see, Blue right to the right side of Bigsby. He's also a Moon Man.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
He's a rising star, sleeping giant monster. Schefter, in recap, if you're just joining us, Schefter says it's been bad and that Terry Scary wants considerably more money than DK Metcalf, who got $33 million per year. So that's where we're at right now. $33 million per year is what DK got. Appreciate you dropping that super chat, my boy. And then we got Sam with another one. Sam says, prediction, ETN gets traded to Houston. Certainly possible with Houston's situation right now. I would say that, and we'll put this on the side here, I would say that the players most likely to get traded, especially, so the teams most likely to want to receive a running back would be Houston, would be Chicago, and then there's some thinking that Washington would be interested, but Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt's looking really good. So right now we're going to cross that one out, but Chicago is probably the most likely running back hungry team at some point. With Mixon's situation, if that's a little bit more complex than they're even letting on, and news is bad next week, the next week, and then all of a sudden Houston is in the mix. The most available running backs would be ETN and Walker. I would imagine those are the two biggest name running backs that are available potentially for trade. And yeah, Walker going to Chicago makes some sense. ETN going to Houston makes some sense. I could see that happening. Let's take some phone calls. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Definitely trades could happen. Trades could definitely happen, Sam. It's certainly in the cards. It certainly makes sense too. ETN is falling to the Smitty's. Thank you for that $10 hauler. $10 haulers get moon shots, Mars shots. There we go. Mark.
To Mars.
Mark, appreciate you. Certainly could be some trades going down at some point. And then wide receivers, I don't think the Commanders trade for a wide receiver. They're very crafty. And this Lane character is looking really, really good tearing up camp. Jalen Lane, make sure he's not available in your league. Go grab Jalen Lane if he's available in your Dynasty league and just stash him right on either the practice taxi squad or just keep him on your bench if you can. But Jalen Lane looks pretty good. Oh, the phone line wasn't open. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Phone line's open now. So now you can dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I apologize. So, be happy to discuss, any situations regarding Scary Terry and your situations. All things get very bad. If things get very bad and Terry gets traded, Lane to the moon, he certainly could. I mean, Deebo's going to the moon. Lane's going to be a developmental player that's going to look really good at times as he progresses in. But yeah, Lane there's a reason Peters drafted him. Adam Peters is a very good scout of talent. And so if he likes Lane, we like Lane. He liked Ben Sinnott. I loved Ben Sinnott before he landed on the Washington Commanders. And the fact that Adam Peters is the one that drafted Ben Sinnott makes me love Ben Sinnott even more. And while Ertz stayed healthy last year, don't think for a second that Ben Sinnott failed. They just didn't need to use him yet. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think. Also, would we worry about injury if the talks go long before the season? Yeah, I mean, every day, like I said, Andy, every single day that goes by, a fraction of a percent of injury risk probably gets piled on. But like a fraction. But every week is kind of heavy. Every week is going to be a heavy amount of risk that gets piled on this player, and especially because he's older. Ghost, appreciate you. Dynasty Superflex trade, Josh Allen, 2 first-round picks for JD5 and MHJ. I would take JD5 and MHJ because I believe MHJ is worth those 2 first-round picks. Absolutely. Unless you could guarantee me one was the 1.1, I might have a different, like, we back off when we talk it out a little more. But when it's maybe some mid, even early to mid, but no guarantee of being a top 2 or 3 pick, but maybe they could both be number 5, I still take MHJ. MHJ has got tremendous upside. And people that doubt MHJ because of last year, it's laughable to me. So DK Metcalf, but yeah, Lane is a very, 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 very nice call. Go pick up Jalen Lane if he's available in your league. Do not leave him sitting out there on the waiver wire. This is caller 443. What's your name and where are you calling from? You're live.
Hey man, it's Nick from Baltimore.
What's up?
Man? You know, you talking Hunter earlier and then MHJ now. I just posted on Patreon. I just saw, I went and reviewed the numbers. And the numbers that you projected for these guys, it looks like Hunter MHJ by a mile.
Well, I projected both, and I projected BTJ to have amazing numbers too. In fact, BTJ was probably still slightly ahead based on my projection that I had for him. But I have
MHJ.
Oh, MHJ? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Over who? Hunter?
Hunter. No, You said Hunter over MHJ as far as your base projections. When you projected MHJ, it was 80 and 1100 for 10 TDs.
Okay. Yeah.
Hunter, you just did that projection, so you should remember that one. That was 85 receptions.
Yep.
1,295 yards total. 30 carries, and then you got 12 touchdowns.
Okay. So what's the question?
So I called in a couple days ago, and I asked if I should do Hunter for MSJ straight up, and you're like, I don't know. You know, MSJ is great too. But these are your base.
Yeah, but
you
got to understand. Let me just stop you there. You got to understand that the fair market value is different for these guys. So Hunter is not equal to MHJ. Just like you can't draft Bucky at number 5 overall just because I project Bucky to be number 5 or higher for number 4 for running backs. So in the trade market, you still got to get more. MHJ is going to command more than just Travis Hunter. So if you can get Travis Hunter plus something, then I very much would go in that direction. Now, once kickoff happens, the fair market value changes and everything might change. And even coming off a draft, right off a draft, you can kind of use draft values as a trade barometer and a measurement tool. But you look, MHJ is higher value than Hunter. You go swapping Hunter and MHJ without getting more, you're going and buying a $500,000 house for $700 just because you know it'll be worth $800 or $900 later. You got to be smart about it. Do I think Hunter could outscore MHJ? Clearly. I think he could be, but I think they both are that good. They both could outscore, either one could outscore the other with ease. It really comes down to, MHJ had 8 TDs last year. I find it hard to believe he can't sleepwalk into 10. And I may have given you a floor projection for MHJ. The ceiling values that either one could hit and either one could not hit could change as well. So you can't take a projection and just say, you said this guy was better than this guy. Why are you telling me to take this guy? The ceiling values, the overlap of projections are wild. There's ceilings, there's floors. It just depends on what we're talking about. But the honest truth is Hunter is probably a little bit more attractive from the long term, in my opinion, but I'm going to take advantage of the market.
I like it. I just know that this guy that's holding on to Hunter in this league that I'm trying to trade for,
Andy,
he values MHJ less than what market value is. So the only way he's going to do it is straight up.
Well, he's trying to work you, though. You got to understand, he's trying to work. Doesn't mean he's not going to do it. It just means at this moment in time, he knows you. You probably have reached out to him, and he knows he's got you by the balls. You know, I mean, who knows? I don't have the details on that. All I can tell you is the fair market value for MHJ is higher than it is Hunter. Now, that is if your scoring doesn't have some weird ins and outs I don't know about, you know, IDP or any other situation. But
no, it's normal scoring.
Hunter is going in the 5th and 6th round in redraft, and he's going several rounds higher in Dynasty, but it's all over the map. Some dynasties value him in the early 3rd. Some of them I've seen people barely move the needle in a Dynasty. It's like 4th round. It's like, how is Hunter a 4th rounder? Because he's not going to get that many receptions. Haven't you seen him in camp? They've been using him as a DB. I think they're going to switch him. Like all these people just hating on him. Bro, I don't know what to tell you. It sounds like you want to get him at any cost. If you want to take him over MHJ, I'm not going to yell at you over it. I'm not going to make you take a lap over it. I'm just trying to help you get fair market value. If you can't do it, you can't do it. But they're both fantastic receivers. I mean, I don't want to say it's Smitty approved because the fair market value commands you get more. So no, it's not Smitty approved. I'm just not going to make you, as you said, I'm not going to make you take a lap for it because I understand it. And I love Hunter, but you can get Hunter plus something versus MHJ. I mean, I can't say it 100,000 different ways, Nick. That's the bottom line. I think you could get it done.
I got you.
I think you could get more done. I just don't know what situation you set up for yourself. If you're like, you want to trade him, and then now all of a sudden he's like, this guy Nick is absolutely out of his mind, willing to do anything to get Hunter. I can't help you at that point if the whole tone of the trade has been completely cemented in. You know, you can't just come back and go, give me more. He's going to be like, bro, I already know you'll do it straight up. You know what I'm saying? I guess Nick hung up. Nick, I wasn't trying to be hard on you. You're almost asking me like why I'm contradicting my values of them, which I know you didn't mean in a negative way, but it's projections. There's floors, there's ceilings, there's market value, there's everything. You know what I mean? Andy with the 10 gifted memberships, Andy to the moon. Andy, appreciate you. Anybody got a gifted membership from Andy? Thank him right now. Nick from Baltimore, appreciate you. And appreciate you on the Patreon as well. And if anybody wants to be like Nick, whoa. Sorry, wrong button. Anybody wants to be like Nick, go get on over on the Patreon. Nick is getting 24/7, 365 advice and becoming an amazing part of that community, helping other people out. Because the point is, you don't just ask for help questions. You provide help to people and you become an amazing community. So $10 a month, cancel anytime. That link has been dropped in the live chat. Nick is over there doing work. Thank you, Nick. Nick, you can call, if you got another one, call back. I don't know if I wasn't trying to be hard on you. Hope you didn't take it that way when you hung up. Phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Yeah, hard to know what's going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you that this was an easy thing to predict. I wish I could tell you that Terry McLaurin's not getting traded. I wish I could tell you that, but I can't tell you that. Again, the two components involved is there a rift between team and player? And then is there an offer that the Commanders can't refuse? And if there's an offer coming in that is, hey, here's a 2nd rounder, and they're like, well, I don't know if I like that because our rift isn't big enough between player and team, then they're going to wait it out. Once the rift becomes almost something that can't be repaired, then all of a sudden these offers that are almost too good to be true start looking better, because then you start saying, well, without preparing with Terry McLaurin all, camp, we could get Keenan Allen in here. The longer we wait, the longer it's going to take Keenan Allen to get up to speed. So why don't we just go ahead and execute this trade now, bring in Keenan Allen, get a 2nd round pick, send McLaurin elsewhere, and Scary Terry goes and gets his bag from the team that trades for him, because the team that trades for him will have an offer formalized essentially at the time of announcing the trade. They happen in conjunction with each other, parallel. If Terry does get traded, that contract's already agreed upon. No team is going to trade for him and then him hold out for that team. There's going to be a deal in place. And that also might be a sticking point. Think about it. If he says, hey, can I request a trade? They say, sure. And the Washington Commanders might say, go go request a trade. Yes, go explore, because you're going to find out no one wants to pay a 30-year-old wide receiver $35 million per year on a guarantee of $70 million. Scary. You're going to go out and find that you're no longer scary, Terry. You're disappointed, Terry, because you're going to go out there and you're going to be like, nobody wants me for $35 million a year at 30 years old. They just don't. So he might have a rude awakening. Scary Terry might run into a brick wall and come crawling back over to Washington and say, remember that last offer you offered me? And I'll go ahead and take it. Why? Because I went and looked and it was $33 million per year. It was 35, but it was only a guarantee of 50. You guys were offering me 58. Let's do the $58 million guaranteed, $34 million per year for 3 years. It's a team-friendly deal. It's team-friendly, really only a 2-year deal essentially, but it's $58 million guaranteed. A lot of it up front. You guys said you would do that. The other offers were not very good up front. That's how it's going to potentially go. If I had to guess on in terms of a deal getting done, I would say a deal in Washington getting done probably equals a 70% chance at this point. That's a significant amount of potential being elsewhere. A trade. This is a lot of concern here. A 30% chance of trade is a lot, but I think it's 70% chance that either Terry finds out the market's not there for him and he crawls back to his highest offer from Washington, or they potentially just sign him. It's either he gets disappointed that he's 30 years old and doesn't have the market that he thinks, or he ends up knowing that and folds to the highest offer anyway. But it sounds like they're not close right now, which is concerning, because Terry's got to come a very far distance back to the middle ground, and Washington's got to kind of creep a little bit further. How are they going to get there? It sounds to me like Scary Terry, if this is, this is Washington, and this is Terry, and this is the middle ground to getting a deal done. It sounds like Terry's right here. It sounds like Washington is right here. They're pretty far apart. Terry's going to have to leapfrog a lot of the way to get to this middle point. Washington probably still has some movement to go, but given Adam Peters and the Commanders I trust have probably more of a right side of things going on here than people think. They're not the ones probably the culprit of this thing. I believe that they're sitting here quietly because they're like, bro, you are so far away. We could keep walking to the table and wasting time, but we do have to let you know we're your employer. We're your employer. You're under contract, and we're trying to give you money, and we're really close to this middle point, and you're literally way down here in La La Land. Pixie dust, fairy dust. I want 90 million guaranteed. Garrett Wilson, I'm as good as Garrett Wilson. I'm as young in my mind as Garrett Wilson. That's probably where we're at. Because I don't believe Adam Peters would drop the ball on this gap right here if Terry wasn't the one even close to coming to middle of the road. So we'll see how it plays out. At the end of the day, 70% chance, if I had to guess, that McLaurin, Scary Terry, stays in Washington. I would say 70% chance he stays in Washington. Now, this could go to 65 tomorrow. It could go to 50 tomorrow. One piece of bad news, I'd like to request a trade turns this thing into like a 60-40. But even requesting a trade, though, doesn't mean he's getting traded, because he might have no higher market value outside. Now, if things are equal, he might be so bent out of shape that he takes the other deal, even if it's the same, or there could be some other reasons to do that. But all right, dial in any more phone calls.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Jalen Lane, though, make sure you're checking your Dynasty waiver wires for Jalen Lane. He is making waves in camp, taking advantage of every opportunity he's being given. And so he needs to be looked at. He needs to be rostered. He needs to be put in a taxi squad position, at least if you have that capability. He looks really good. Really good. He's an elusive kid. Can go get a jump ball, has good hands, good awareness, good tenacity, good drive, good speed, good quickness. Like Jalen Lane a lot. This is why Adam Peters identified him as a potential Washington Commander and went ahead and made the selection. JD5 building good rapport with him. Deebo's going to go to the moon if McLaurin is traded, but at the same time, I think he quietly goes there anyway. You know, he's going to the moon. It's just a matter of, does he go there more efficiently with less work, with less injury risk, or does he become the focal point of the team? Has a little bit more like draft appeal because of the domination of targets, but it's going to take him more to get what he might get on less if you've got Scary Terry stretching the field. So I'm not saying we won't do a standing ovation, Deebo to the moon, and we all start going like this. We very well may. It's kind of like the catch-22 when Monty goes down. It's like we all cheer. We love the Gibbs to get more work, but there's a happy medium. You don't want a whole season of Gibbs not getting some, spelling going on. You don't want him running 22 times a game. You want this guy running 15, 18, catching 4 to 6 receptions. Then you have 150 total yards and 2 touchdowns on efficiency. Whereas if you're getting all those Monty carries, you're getting guaranteed 3-yard carries that are going to drag down your average, make you tired, potentially add some wear and tear. And so Deebo's similar. It's like, McLaurin there. Deebo, yeah, it doesn't seem on the surface level it might be as good, but it'll be more efficient, more likely to stay healthy. So catch 22. But Deebo is going to go to the moon regardless. And people that don't like Deebo are just haters. Or they have Chicago Bear avatars. They're not thinking clear anyway. Just more of a reason to fade JD5. Bro, can I just tell you something? These two comments right here just make it. This is embarrassing. Deebo, old, injury prone. He ain't going to go to the moon. He's going to go to IR. Then just more and more reason to fade JD5. That might be one of the worst comments of the year. That is awful, bro. That is embarrassing. My mom's embarrassed because of that comment. No meatloaf for you, bro. That is awful. Part of me thinks that's the worst comment we've had all year, for sure. Where do we save that? That's so bad, bro. That's so bad.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
You would think by now, bro, you'd be learning more in here. It's like a teacher is disappointed in the student getting like no progress on their testing, their state testing. Like it's like you'd think you learned something by now. I don't understand how you would think these kinds of things already after being here for. I mean, it makes me feel like a failure when you say things like that and you aren't learning. I mean, it's just how it makes me feel bad. You're not going to be able to win in fantasy football. You're going to play this game of being a homer to your team, and you're going to lose, and that's on my watch. And that to me, it makes me want to expel you from the class so you're not a part of the data and drag down the state testing that we have going on in here when people say, let's measure the show and the community, and I got you dragging the whole show down. You're dragging the whole community down with your inability to learn. I mean, imagine wanting to fade JD5 and then that comment makes you want to fade him more. You shouldn't want to fade him at all.
Take a big lap. We don't need your hating ass coming back now. Take a big lap. Take one and you don't come back.
And another person that really I'm disappointed in is Scott. Scott, you've been here so much. The fact that you're still peddling this narrative, Scott, I thought you'd be learning something too. You're somebody that potentially needs to be removed from the class because you're dragging down the overall average of success. Like the success stories of people watching this show, we got you, unfortunately, dragging us down. Deebo should be competing at Nathan's Hot Dogs. Bro, he's in the best shape of his life. When are you going to open your eyes and accept that? You're like someone's like 75-year-old mother that you try and tell somebody and you're not hearing them. We've already told you Deebo's in phenomenal shape, and you keep regurgitating this hot dog line. You don't know ball, Scott, unfortunately. It's so disappointing. You've been here for like 2-3 years. It's so disappointing. All right, one or two more phone calls and we're out of here.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I feel like a failure with both of them. Not learning enough ball. They don't know ball. Neither one of them knows ball. At this point, I feel like a failure. They've been here forever. They haven't learned a thing. They haven't learned a thing. I mean, that's crazy. Imagine thinking that. Imagine seeing Deebo in all of his glory right now, looking in phenomenal shape, as quick as ever. The footwork god working with them, and I posted that on my Instagram. You can see it right on my Instagram. Go to my Instagram, and you'll see Deebo Samuel working out, looking like a monster. Imagine seeing all that and still thinking Deebo's slow, overweight, not in great shape. I mean, imagine not knowing ball. That sucks. It makes me feel bad for you, Scott. What round would you consider taking an elite QB? It depends on the best player available at that moment in time, bro. JD5, Josh Allen, and 3 and 4 are fantastic. But then if you see a Travis Hunter at 5, you can't take a quarterback there. If you're sitting there in Hamptons there at 4, you can't take a quarterback there. It's all about best player available, bro. It's not about cementing anything into place. You got to roll with the flow of the draft. Roll with the flow of the draft. Luke McCaffrey. I mean, look, I like Luke McCaffrey, but I like Jalen Lane better already. Already, bro. Deebo with a chip on his shoulder. Yeah, just wait, man. He's going to have at least 2 multiple touchdown games. He'll have at least 9-10 touchdowns. He'll have easily over 1,100, 1,200 total yards. He might be a different receiver, too, now that he gets to be used a little bit more full-time receiver instead of a lot of, crazy Shanahan up the gut work where he's just shoveling Deebo Samuel into the A gap. What's up, Bruce? You're live.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up, my boy?
I got a funny question for you.
Okay.
Now I got someone like the people in the comments that are afraid of JD5 if McLaurin leaves. What would you offer them?
A ham sandwich, because they clearly don't know his value. Go from there. I mean, I don't know. Give me an example. Like, I don't know who your team is. Like, if you had a quarterback that was lower than him, then you start there because they're probably going to want a quarterback back, unless they've got 2 quarterbacks and they're willing to get rid of JD5. But I mean, of course, I'd give up anybody. Josh Allen and JD5 are my number 1 quarterbacks, so any sort of trade would work. It's just a matter of if you had, let's say, a top 5 or 6 quarterback still, then you're gonna give up a lot less. But I mean, I'm trying to make that move no matter what.
I got Drake London. They're not very good at receiver. Would you try to just swap and say, here, I'll give you Drake London and maybe like a second
in a 1 QB?
In a 1 QB.
Well, where's JD5 going in a 1 QB draft, Bruce?
Like the 3rd, 4th round.
Okay, where's London going?
In the 2nd.
So why would you make that trade?
I don't know. I was thinking, maybe JD5 scores more,
Yeah, but you can't buy a $300,000 house for $500 just because you like it. And it'll be worth more later. You got to take advantage of the market. Now, when the season begins, as I've told you, and everybody, the values do change. JD5 you cannot get for anything but a London during the year. And that does signify that that's his real value. But you can't do that now. The fair market value commands you get more than JD5 for London. But if you were able to get, let's say, like a Travis Hunter back, you gave them a first rounder, or you did some sort of complex 2 for 2 or 3 for 2 or 2 for 3, I could get behind that. But you can't trade JD5 for, trade Drake London, who's going in the top 12 in Dynasty, for JD5, who's getting drafted in the 3rd round, who I love. And I love JD5. You know that. But the fair market value is not there. You got to take advantage of that. You can't keep just taking swings. And then if you get any setbacks, you're done. Your team's, diminished. You're going full throttle on high ceiling values when you're making trades. You start making trades on high ceiling values, you get any sort of roadblock or bump in the road, you're done. You're toast. You have no recovery capability at all.
Okay.
If anything, just to give you an idea, I'm more prone to trading JD5 for Mahomes and Travis Hunter than I am trading the world to go pay high top dollar for JD5. And you said if somebody's doubting him, should I go get him? Well, why are you going to give up London? If they're doubting him, give him something much lesser, because you just said they're doubting him. If they're doubting him, how on earth are you giving up top dollar? You got to think of it like that. Second of all, anybody that owns JD5 doesn't doubt him. Let me just put that to bed. It's scared Scott or whoever in here, the other guy, the Bears guy. He doesn't own a single share of JD5. That's why he's saying this. If he was a JD5 owner, he'd be licking his boots. So there's another thing. Probably another misconception is the average JD5 owner would never trade him. So it's almost an irrelevant conversation at the end.
He put him on the trade block. But the problem that is, and he might not doubt him, but I think he does, he also owns Mahomes.
Okay,
he said he'd rather give up JD5.
That's probably why he's doing the trade, not because he doubts JD5 all that much. But, bro, if you're going to get JD5, you can't give him a quarterback back, so this doesn't make sense for you. You're trying to make a trade of, who's your quarterback?
My quarterback is... he's gone.
Oh, then you can. Okay, so what can you give him? First rounders? Can you give him multiple first rounders? Can you give him a player that's not Drake London plus multiple first rounders? I would easily give up 2 first rounders plus a player for JD5 in your situation.
Okay.
So what player can you throw in? Do you have somebody that you start off with like DJ Moore type players?
I can offer him, and this could be shot down, but I have Worthy, so then he would have that. But I have Deebo. So it's kind of like, well, look, I'm helping you out. I'm giving you Worthy.
I mean, I'd easily give Worthy in a first rounder for JD5.
Okay.
Start from there. And if he doesn't want to do that, then he does love JD5. He's only trying to trade him because he has Mahomes and he's trying to beef up his team. That's it. All right.
Okay.
All right, call back, Bruce.
Right.
Got another one later.
Yep.
Yeah, in general, anybody that's fantasy football knowledgeable enough to own JD5 is not trading JD5. And the people that hate JD5 have never drafted him, have crapped on him publicly, so they're rooting against him so that their bad take finally becomes correct. That's essentially what we're dealing with. That's it. It's as simple as that. There's not another really way to look at it. So it is what it is. One more phone call before we're out of here. We will be back. Don't you worry. We're live whenever big news breaks. Just like this, piece of news here. We're also live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be live at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I'm additionally live most every single midnight Eastern as well. So we've got 2 more live streams to go. We had a video drop this morning, and so we'll have a total of bare minimum this live stream, 2 more live streams, and the video we dropped this morning. That's 4 videos in one day. And that's if more breaking news doesn't, go down. Anyway. All right. I'll see you all a little later. Scott, we're going to put you in timeout for 30 minutes. Because your incessant continuation of Deebo hate and saying hateful things in the live chat over and over and over about a man that's in the best shape of his life, and you continue to try and shame the man when he is probably the most chiseled he's been. And here you are complaining and constantly mudding up the chat and polluting it with your horrible take on Deebo Samuel. So, Scott, we'll see you later. I was tempted to hit that 24-hour timeout. Then you wouldn't have been here for the 8 p.m. show, but I'm going to give you another chance. But, let it go, Scott. You don't know anything about Deebo, so just stop talking about it. We'll see you all at 8 p.m. Eastern or sooner. I'm live whenever big news breaks. Dose. Thank you to my super chatters. Thank you to my gifted memberships. Andy dropping the 10 gifted members. Thank you, Andy. My super chatters, Sam, Mark, Andy, Ghost, appreciate you. See you all in a little bit. I offered 3 firsts for JD5 and got rejected. Exactly. Andy to the moon. Someone said a McBride deal. Let's see this McBride deal. I was offered Breece Hall, Evan Ingram, and 3 first-round picks for McBride. Jeez. That's crazy, bro. You got to take that. Like, Evan Ingram's going to ball out this year. I know he's not a spring chicken. 3 first-rounders. Breece Hall. You got to take that. I mean, tight end premium, be damned. I don't know. Chat, what do you think? Hold on, Alex. Chat, vote on that. I mean, I love McBride, bro. I love McBride. And if it's Dynasty tight end premium, I mean, he's essentially like a borderline first-round pick, if not guaranteed a first-round pick. Everybody's saying take the deal, bro. The only thing is that Dynasty tight end premium, it is hard to get rid of McBride. He's a first-rounder. But, I mean, Evan Ingram's going to ball this year. What if he has 2 or 3 good years, Evan Ingram? 3 first-round picks. Breece Hall, it's a good value. You got to take that. That guy's getting work. The only thing I'll say is if it's like a 10-man league or an 8-man league, then everybody's stacked and can afford to give up this much, and then it kind of changes it. So just make sure it's not like where, you can barely even use Breece Hall. Then you're actually, we don't see that, and we're not understanding that everybody's got a surplus of depth, and the waiver wire's got, like Jaden Blue on it. And then we're like, okay, wait a minute. I'd rather have Jaden Blue, McBride, and, you can pick up Bigsby right now and Bashal Tootin. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's a 10-man league. It is a 10-man league, Alex said. Alex, is there an embarrassment of riches going on inside? Let me come back. This is important enough to help Alex real quickly. Alex, is there an embarrassment of riches on the waiver wire? Is your bench loaded with players to where you should be making these overpays to get a big stud? it's very, very quick for us to all at a glance on a high level be like, yeah, do that trade. But if you have an embarrassment of riches, you should be making these overpays and then just going to the waiver wire and picking up Jaden Blue, going to the waiver wire and picking up Thornton, going to the waiver wire and picking up Bigsby. So real quickly, let's see what Alex responds with here. Just want to make sure that's not the case because there's context matters. Context always matters. My bench is loaded. Kind of deep bench. Okay, so what's on your bench, bro? Let us know who's on your bench, and then I'll tell you whether to reject this McBride trade. Because if you tell me you've got Harvey on your bench, you can't start him. You tell me you drafted Travis Hunter, and he can't even get in your lineup right now. You got McLaurin and Deebo on your bench. Then that's a whole different ball game. This guy's doing what's smart. Get rid of all your depth to build up the lineup, and then go to the waiver wire and pick up Jaden Blue. You get the context matters. So give me your bench real quick, Alex, before we leave. Should I pick up Ray Davis? Probably, but is Jaden Blue out there? Are any of the other midseason monsters out there? If so, then we got to just kind of determine which one is the best pickup. But yeah, these guys are on the. If these guys are all in waivers, Alex, then this might not be the right trade for you. Actually, let's wait for Alex's reply. Because he says it's a 10-man. Dooney, appreciate you, my boy. Dooney to the moon. Dooney, are you on the Patreon yet? All right, Alex, you coming back? Alex, I'm trying to help you, bro. He says my bench is loaded. Alex, I waited long enough. I tried to help you. Come back at 8 p.m. See you all at 8 p.m. Dooney, consider the Patreon just because you get those alerts whenever we go live. And we could use your positivity, my boy. Yeah, Alex, call back tonight. Rogers, Braylon Allen, Jay. That's not really that loaded. All right, chat. Based on Alex's team, doesn't seem super loaded and on the bench, to be honest. Is he doing this trade? I think Hall can help him, I guess. Just as long as Hall isn't going to your bench after this trade. Like, that's an important piece of context too, Alex. Call back at 8 p.m.